When you think of an Australian motorsport legend, Mark Skaife always comes to mind. Mark Skaife is a national icon and an ambassador of the sport, with his consecutive race wins and podium finishes, and also his off-the-track personality with commentary and endless charity work. The autobiography that I have read and analysed is called Skaife, Life in the Fast Lane, written by Andrew Clark along with Mark Skaife and was published in 2010. This analysis will explain what sports delivery systems are in detail and how they assisted Mark Skaife to reach his potential in his given sport, the aspects of the sport, for example how to get involved, the format of competitions and major events in the sport. Sports delivery systems is the process of providing sport to individuals, communities and the world through the use of different agencies such as government, media and sponsors. I have chosen Mark Skaife because I have an interest in motorsport, and I'm also interested in how an individual can climb their way from being a beginner to becoming a well-known legend in their desired sport. According to Edie, sports development is a process whereby effective opportunities, processes, systems and structures are set up to enable and encourage people in all particular groups and areas to take part in sport for recreation or to improve their performance at whatever level they desire. Mark Skaife worked his way up to the top from local competitions to representative state series, national organisations and even competed in an international championship. Motorsport was influenced at Skaife at a young age by his father, Russell Skaife, who also raced in motorsport when he was growing up and after his retirement owned and ran an automotive business with his own father. Skaife started his career pathway by competing in local go-kart races at the age of 14. This enabled him to experience motorsport at a lower level, understand the pressure of the sport from both the individuals and family side of the sport. He then moved on to competing in the New South Wales Laser Series and Victoria Laser Series to continue his talent. The Australian Touring Car Championships was his next level, which was renamed the V8 Supercar Series in 1997, which allowed Skaife to compete against the best in the nation and improve his rankings in both the national and international level of the competition. Alongside the Australian Touring Car Championships, Skaife also participated in the Australian Driving Championships, which is a pathway program for athletes to become international drivers. In relation to the Australian Touring Car Championships and now V8 Supercars, Skaife participated and conquered the Tooheys 1000, now known as Bathurst 1000, for 5 years, which promoted his driving ability to the world stage, making him internationally recognised for motorsport. Each organisation allowed Skaife to maximise his potential in motorsport, which can be recognised through championship wins and rankings at the time. Throughout motorsport, the competition is structured around a tombstone and placement format. Placement format means that the best athlete will progress on to the next round. For instance, in motorsport, all drivers compete for the top 10 shootout, which means every driver competes for the best lap time in order to be in the top 10 on the grid. Motorsport also consists of a tombstone format, which means that the competition cannot be completed in one motion, but over a series of sections. For instance, motorsport races are held at different race meetings throughout the season, and in each race meeting, the drivers will compete in at least 3 races to challenge for first place at the meeting, and also to claim the championship points for that round.
Car number 2, the Holden Racing Team's Mark Skaife. He's done it all, and he wants more. The flying lap is underway. Stephen Johnson is our provisional pole sitter.
Got into qualifying with a 2 minutes 7.4 yesterday, was the 3rd fastest man. In the run this morning, did a 2 minutes 7.9, but was pretty unhappy with the setup. Reverted to much more of yesterday's setup in an effort to have a car that's good for the shootout.
He knows what's coming. 20 starts on the mountain, 5 victories, 5 pole positions. It's an awesome thing to watch Mark Skaife on a flying lap.
Rarely leaves much on the table, uses every millimetre of track typically in the places that count. Notice he sacrificed some track on the exit of the cutting though to avoid that bump and the gear change from 2nd to 3rd.
My goodness, 0.3 of a second underneath the first split.
If the second half of the lap is like the first, that will definitely be in the 7s. He's a master at squeezing the lemon, this bloke. He just gets every last little bit out of the car, and he's done it for year after year after year.
sticking like glue.
That was the rev limiter, third gear on the brake approach to Forest Elbow.
You can hear the roar. Not only
Look
the
at that.
HRT number 2 car.
That's nearly a second up on Stevie Johnson. That affords you, I mean, he won't be thinking this, but it affords you the opportunity to not go berserk when you get to the chase, and he'll see some of that data on the dashboard.
Are we going underneath 207 territory? Are we heading towards Murphy's amazing time?
It was on the rev limit. Oh, he had to have a second crack at the turn in then. Second gear. One corner to run.
Johnson has held on and held on.
On the rev limiter again in the final corner. Oh, he turned it in on the white line. It slipped a little bit. He's giving nothing away. Millimetres to span. Skaife to the top. A 2 minute 7.1.
Great job, mate. Well done.
What a
As
lap.
I can do.
What another moment.
That's a number.
Mark Skaife has had many great achievements throughout his career, but I believe his greatest are displayed in this image. Back in 1984, Mark Skaife raced for his first time at Emeroo Park in Sydney, in a Holden Torana XU1 sports sedan. This milestone started off a terrific career. In 1991, Mark Skaife notched up his first 2is1000 race in a Nissan 32 GTR for Nissan Motorsport Australia. 1992 saw Mark Skaife win his first of many Australian Touring Car Championships, and in the same year tried his hand in international competition by competing in the FIA Formula 3000 International Championships. In 1994, Mark Skaife claimed his second Australian Touring Car Championships win in a Holden, and also put Holden back in the winning circle after 14 years. 1999 was a tough year for Mark Skaife because he was recorded as having the most race wins for the season, but he didn't win the series. 2 years later, Mark Skaife won the championship by a staggering 3,478 points. Away from racing, Mark Skaife was honoured the Order of Australia Medal for his continuous charity work and services to motorsport in 2004. He retired from full-time racing in 2007, but came back for more when he was co-driver with Craig Lowndes in 2010 at the Bathurst 1000 and took the win. In 2014, Mark Skaife was honoured when he was inducted into the V8 Supercars Hall of Fame. Through Skaife's development into the sport, there were many agencies that affected his journey both positively and negatively. Media was a big threat through twisted stories of how he got into the sport and how he was accused of pushing former drivers out of the sport to allow him to race, were untrue stories that were made up to make him break and back down, but he never let them affect his driving, his mental approach to the sport, his relationships with other drivers, his team and his fans. Sponsorship was another agency that impacted his journey hard, with the government banning tobacco advertisement. This had a major impact on their sponsorship money, which made it hard for Skaife and his team to find enough funds to fix cars and bring them back up to competition worthy. Confederation of Australian Motorsport is the governing body that implemented the rules and changes of the cars over time. This agency also had a major influence by the consistent changing of rules, competition format, for instance the point systems, and the modification of the cars were constantly changing with the modern world. Andrew Clark expressed through this biography that Mark Skaife has enough natural ability to one day make it in the Formula 1 series. This expression gave me the impression that Clark understands Skaife's ability as a driver, and he believes that his talent is strong enough to compete at a world level. In the past, Clark was the editor of Racing Car News magazine, which aided his understanding of motorsport, who Mark Skaife is, and the sports delivery system of motorsport. Through conducting this analysis of motorsport and the background of Mark Skaife, I have learnt the various agencies in this sport and how they can impact an athlete's pathway into the sport, and I also believe that the modern delivery system is effective, with government agencies' assistance increasing in the development of motorsport and trying to keep the sport alive through new programs being developed. But I do believe that they can be improved by the programs being more advertised and promoted to create awareness for young individuals to get involved. What I found the most surprising was how media can be such a negative burden and how much this can affect the image of the sport to both the drivers and teams and also the fan base. Mark Skaife developed from junior go-kart competitions to becoming the #1 ranking in Australian motorsport. Throughout Skaife's life, the pathway that he chose to go down to develop his talent and perform at a national level gave him the opportunities to excel at the sport, and also when the time came to retire, he still had the involvement opportunity in the sport through buying a major racing team of Holden Racing Team, and to continue his love for the sport through becoming a commentator and holding a radio segment dedicated to motorsport. Although his development into becoming a well-known athlete had many negative aspects, he didn't back down or give up. He kept his head high and gave it all that he had, and this is why I believe that Mark Skaife is a true Australian motorsport legend.